Hi, my name is Ravi. Welcome to my channel Payment Talks. Welcome back to the ISO 20022 video series. In the previous video, we discussed about the fundamentals of the ISO 20022. In this week video, we shall see the basic building blocks of the ISO 20022 which will help you master the ISO 20022. Think of these building blocks as the grammar you must learn before speaking the ISO 20022 language fluently. First building block is the business domains. ISO 20022 groups all financial messaging content into business domains. A business domain is simply a high level area of financial activity. Imagine if ISO 20022 is a university, then business domains are like faculties. Business domains are important to organize ISO 20022 content logically, avoid duplication of definitions, standardize processes across markets, allow different market groups SCGs to govern each domain, reuse common components consistently. For example, a party in payments is the same party in securities thanks to business domain consistency. According to ISO website, there are 5 major business domains. They are payments, securities, trade finance, cards and FX. Payment is the biggest and most widely adopted domain. The key principles across all domains are reuse of common components. Regardless of domain, a party is a party, an agent is a financial institution, an account is an account, a postal address follows the same structure. This is the heart of ISO 20022 consistency. Each domain has a dedicated SEG standards evaluation group. They review and approve messages belonging to that domain. Messages are always built from the ISO data dictionary. Domains don't reinvent definitions. They compose from shared building blocks. Domains are designed to interoperate. Example, a corporate treasury instruction may trigger a payment which results in a security settlement which updates cash positions. ISO ensures all these interactions use compatible data. Second building block is message sets in ISO 20022. A message set in ISO 20022 is a logical grouping of related messages that together support a specific business process within a particular business domain. Think of message sets as departments under business domains faculties in the ISO 20022 university. A message set includes all related message definitions, their supporting components, documentation linking them, the business process context in which they operate. Example, the payments clearing and settlement PACS area contains a message set that includes all the PACS messages shown here. This entire collection is a message set. Key point, a message set is a group of related message definitions. Now then, what are message definitions? In ISO 20022, a message definition is the official, fully specified blueprint of a financial message. It describes exactly what information a message must contain, how it is structured, and how it should be interpreted. It is the authoritative specification from which the actual XML or JSON message schemas are generated. In simple terms, a message definition is the detailed recipe for a specific ISO 20022 message or called blueprint of one ISO message. Think of message definitions as courses in message sets departments under business domains faculties in the ISO 20022 university. Each message definition includes message name and identifier. For example, take the most common one, the customer credit transfer. Here the name is FI to FI customer credit transfer and identifier is PAX 008.001.08. We'll come to this identifier in a bit. Purpose of the message. What business process it supports. Here it is customer credit transfer. Next, business context. Which business area domain it belongs to. In this case, it is PACS, payments clearing and settlement in payments domain. Message structure, it is a hierarchical breakdown of all components like group header, transaction information, party structures, amount blocks, remittance blocks, agents, accounts, dates, IDs, etc. Just think as arrangement of components. List of all elements and their definitions. Each field have name, definition, data type, cardinality like mandatory, optional, single repeating, constraints or rules, references to data dictionary components, etc. Message components. These are reusable building blocks in ISO. A message definition picks components from the data dictionary. XSD JSON schema or syntax binding. ISO publishes schemas derived from the message definition so systems can validate messages. Every message definition is stored in the ISO 20022 repository, which provides MDRs called message definition reports, XML schemas, documentation, dictionaries and model diagrams. The repository is the authoritative source for all ISO message content. In one sentence, message definitions in ISO 20022 are the official, fully specified templates that describe every allowed element, structure, and rule of a financial message, ensuring global consistency and machine interpretable communication. We move to the next important building block, message identifier. Every ISO 20022 message has a standardized, structured name called the message identifier. It looks like this: PACS 008 001 08. This identifier tells you which business area the message belongs to, what the specific function of the message is, its version, release, and revision. The name is not random. It follows a strict 4-part structure as shown on the screen. Please look at the pattern and example. The first part is business area. This identifies what domain the message belongs to, like PACS, PAIN, CAMT, etc. The second part is message number. This identifies the specific message function within that business area, like PACS 008 versus PACS 009. 008 in PACS refers to customer credit transfer, while 009 in same PACS refers to financial credit transfer. The business area along with message number gives uniqueness. For example, 008 in PACS refer to customer credit transfer, but the same 008 in PAIN refers to customer direct debit initiation. Simply, the message number is unique inside its business area. The third part is variant. A variant is a more restricted or slimmed down version of a global ISO 20022 message definition. Let's first understand why variant exists. Some markets require a customized version of their specific use case. Different payment schemes may use different flavors of the same general message. Variant 001 usually means the primary or original version, but more variants may be added as needed. A notable example of 002 variant is in the securities domain, where the DTCC uses a 002 variant for some corporate action messages. Example SWV 001, 002 or similar, to ensure compatibility with legacy systems like ISO 15022. This is a specific implementation by a market infrastructure. Currently, in payments domain, we do not have any 002 variants created. It may be because the global definitions of CBPR Plus are already widely adopted, and there hasn't been a strong business case yet to restrict them to a simpler 002 version. CBPR Plus implementers may prefer to use usage guidelines, implementation guides, instead of creating a variant, because usage rules, what fields must not be used, can often solve the same problem without making a new variant. Variant creation is a formal process. Someone needs to file a business justification with the RA and then develop and maintain the variant definition. The last part is version. This tells you which version of the message you are working with. Every time when new fields are added, outdated elements are deprecated, regulatory changes reflect in messages, richer structure or correct specifications are added, ISO releases new versions. Versions are also incremented over time if there are changes during annual message releases. Finally, the message identifier PAX008.001.08 means the version 8 definition of the primary variant of the financial to financial customer credit transfer message in payments clearing and settlement domain. Why is message identifier so important? Because identifiers guarantee precision. It tells implementers exactly what fields, exactly what rules, exactly what XML schema, exactly what business function they should implement. Two systems anywhere in the world can exchange messages confidently because the identifier uniquely locks both parties to the same definition. Example, a bank receiving PAX008.001.08 must validate the XML against exactly that schema. No guessing, no local interpretations. This identifier is one of the most important fundamentals of the entire ISO 20022 framework. The next important building block is party identifiers. Party identifiers are standardized pieces of data used to uniquely identify a party involved in a payment. A party can be a person, a company, a bank, a financial institution, a legal entity, a government body, or even a branch of an organization. ISO 20022 defines structured components to hold those identifiers so machines can read, validate, and interpret party information consistently. They were introduced because older empty messages used unstructured free text to identify parties. Examples of fields 50K, 59F, also the field 57 with multiple options of A, B, C, and D. ISO 20022 uses two main components to identify parties. One used for persons and organizations which are non-financial institutions. It is normally called party. Two used for banks and financial institutions. It is normally called agent. Please find the differences between these two by looking at debtor and debtor agent sections of PAX8. Debtor of PAX8 is for persons or organizations, not financial institutions. Whereas the debtor agent section in PAX8 refers to a bank or financial institution. Please spot the differences and try to remember them. I am showing the same differences using debtor section of PAX4. Debtor of PAX4 return can be a party if the return is for PAX8, or it can be a financial institution if the return is for PAX9. Please see the structures of both here. Now remember this. In any ISO message you see the financial institution sections like all agents will have same structure, and all non-financial sections will have this same structure. May not have the parent tags, party and agent. Whenever you want to represent any financial or non-financial entity in ISO 20022 message, either of these structures is used. As we know, ISO does not define new fields, rather reuses the same component structure everywhere. ISO supports multiple identification types because not all jurisdictions use the same system, like BIC, standard way to identify banks, LEI, identify any party that is legal person, national ID like tax ID, company registration number. They use country specific formats. Clearing system member ID used when a bank is identified by its local clearing code. Example, IFSC code, sort code, FedWire ABA, etc. Account identifiers like IBAN and BBAN They identify accounts, not parties, but are closely linked. Person identification for individuals like passport number, national ID, customer ID, etc. These identifiers may present in both party and agent. Please try to remember once and reuse everywhere in ISO 20022. Sanction engines, AML tools, and AI screeners rely heavily on structured identifiers to reduce false positive. We shall revisit all the party identifiers of an ISO 20022 message in complete detail in separate videos next. The next building block is external code set lists. In ISO 20022, an external code set, often called as external code list, is a list of allowed values that is not defined inside ISO 20022 but is created and maintained by another standards body or authority. ISO 20022 references these lists but does not manage or control the contents. Examples: ISO 4217 used for currency codes, ISO 3166 used for country codes, ISO 9362 used for big codes. Similarly, we have return codes, reject codes, and many others. Please refer to this link for more codes. Also, there are some embedded codes like charge bearer and settlement method inside the message. These are considered external because the code sets exist outside the ISO 20022 repository. ISO 20022 uses a naming convention to refer these. Why external code sets are needed and why not define everything inside ISO 20022? ISO 20022 intentionally avoids redefining information already standardized elsewhere because it provides better global consistency. Banks worldwide already use ISO 4217 for currency and ISO 3166 for countries. Recreating them would cause duplication and confusion. Avoids conflicts between standards. If ISO 20022 created its own UR GBP list, who would maintain it? External owners keep their list current, allows updates without updating ISO 20022 messages. If a new currency is introduced, example in New Africa or Middle Eastern currencies, ISO 20022 does not need a message revision. It automatically supports it because the external standard updates. Keeps ISO 20022 flexible and future proof. ISO 20022 does not need to republish messages every time the world changes. Instead, it references the official authority for each type of code. The next important building block is supplementary data in each ISO 20022 message. Even though ISO 20022 is robust and have many structured data elements, there might be a case where new type of data elements are needed locally which needs to be passed in ISO message. Any change to the official schema must follow a process and it takes years. But businesses often need to exchange new information quickly. In those cases, supplementary data helps. Supplementary data is a special extension mechanism inside ISO 20022 messages that allows additional information to be included without modifying the core message definition. Think of it as an official extension slot within ISO 20022 messages. It appears in ISO messages as shown. This structure is standardized and can appear in many ISO payment messages, PACS, CAMT, ACMT, etc. Refer to the blog for more important information on supplementary data. This is infrequently used, but you will have different variations of this usage based on the specific scenarios you might encounter in your projects. We have covered the most important foundations to start our ISO 20022 journey in last and this video. ISO 20022 has many other concepts which we will cover during messages discussion. Next, we shall revisit the party identifiers of ISO 20022 before we move to the ISO messages. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share for more such interesting topics on payments.